It's been said that better questions lead us naturally to better answers, and that it's in not knowing that we open the doorway to knowing. I'm Scott Lennox, and you're listening to The Beautiful Question, a consideration of things that truly matter in a complex world. What a curious bundle of paradoxes we are as human beings. Simple and infinitely complex, weak and strong, smart and fallible. We are perfectly imperfect. Join me this week as we consider ways of accepting ourselves exactly as who and what we are. Isn't it good to know that despite what others think about us or expect of us, and despite the things we've been telling ourselves perhaps for much of our lifetime, we don't have to do a single thing perfectly. And we don't have to be perfect, forever holding ourselves to a standard that is altogether impossible. And yet, many of us keep driving ourselves in exactly that way. Until we finally come to know, truly know, that being who and what we are, in all its complexity and all its simplicity, is much more than enough. You know, if someone were to tell you that something you'd done was great, or wonderful, or excellent, or marvelous, or perhaps extraordinary or superior, you'd more than likely be inclined to feel good about their assessment. But as good as each of those things are, when they're compared to perfect, they're all failure. Marvelous and magnificent are failure compared to perfect. I've asked myself more than once, when did good enough become not good enough, and why? The answers are imposed from the outside, not the inside. Without society's false training and impositions, we'd be happy with ourselves. One of the great paradoxes about being human is that we are simultaneously strong and weak, wise and foolish, courageous and frightened, powerful and vulnerable, ageless and time-bound. We are wonderful and horrible, all at the same time. A wonderful, horrible mess. Consider the ways our minds regularly perform the most complex and creative tasks, and yet the very next moment we can't remember where we put our glasses or our keys or those papers we promised we'd take care of. It's not that we're not intelligent. It's more a matter of being unfocused and overloaded in that moment. But when it happens, we tend to judge and doubt ourselves. Most of us will go out of our way to help someone else, especially in a critical situation. But then we take a step back when we're strongly challenged. Our reticence isn't about a lack of courage. More often than not, it's about feeling overwhelmed in the face of what's happening. Sitting quietly beside our fears and our frailty, our courage is right there, still in place, waiting for us to engage with it. We celebrate and appreciate other people for the things they accomplish and for the numerous outstanding traits they possess. And then in the next breath, we turn around and judge and criticize ourselves for making mistakes or for being what we deem to be less than. We see others so clearly, but we look at ourselves through darkened or clouded lenses. Many of us know this self-deprecating habit all too well. One night years ago, a patient thanked me profusely at the end of an outpatient group therapy session, telling me that I had helped him more than he could possibly have imagined. He had no way of knowing at the time that I was struggling with my own season of depression, but I knew it. On my drive home from the hospital that night, I thought, well, if I'm so smart and I'm such a great counselor, why can't I help myself the way I helped him? My situation had been a protracted one, and I was more exhausted than I realized at the time. As a result of my combined fatigue and self-judgment, I was being critical of myself in ways I would never have dared treat someone else. So what was wrong with me? Simply stated, the answer is nothing. Nothing was wrong with me. I was behaving in an altogether human way in the midst of an altogether human circumstance. As I continued to sit with it, it became clear that it was time to take a more direct look at how I was thinking about myself and about my responses to what was happening around me. And it was certainly time to lighten up. When we graciously accept that we are exactly as we are, with all of our gifts and all of our imperfections, things immediately change. One of the first things that changes is that we begin to release the unrealistic pressures and expectations we've been putting on ourselves. As a result, we rejoin the human race, and we go back to being the human being that we are. It fascinates me how often things quickly return to their own shape when the external and internal pressures are taken away. It strikes me that this would be a good time to give that gift to ourselves and return to our own natural shape. As you breathe out slowly and deeply, settle in for a while and ask yourself this week's beautiful questions. Here's the first one. What unrealistic expectations or demands have I been placing on myself? 2. Because of them, in what ways am I falsely judging or criticizing myself? 3. In what ways can I accept my perfectly imperfect humanity right now? And 4. What will naturally shift or change in my life as I do? As always, as you sit with these questions and the answers that arise as a result of your consideration, I'd love to hear what happens. And as always, my light with your light. Thank you once again for listening. I'm always inspired by our collaboration as we work and play together, building better lives and better possibilities for ourselves, for one another, for the world, and for our beautiful planet home. I look forward to your comments and to your feedback. You can also be inspired by visiting my good friends at Cosmos Journal. That's KOSMOS Journal. Their mission is to inform, inspire, and engage global transformation in harmony with all life. You can easily find them online at cosmosjournal.org. And as always, you can find my free podcasts and guided relaxation audios by searching for The Beautiful Question in Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud or CastBox, or by visiting the podcast page of my website at scottlennox.com. If you find them useful or encouraging, don't hesitate to share them. I'm Scott Lennox, and this has been The Beautiful Question. The Beautiful Question is a One Light production, written, recorded, produced, and funded by Scott Lennox at Heart Rock Studios in Fort Worth, Texas, as a way of paying forward to life, being fully present, becoming better engaged with things that truly matter in a complex world, and committing to a healthier future for all of us.